The Maquis were groups of French resistance fighters during World War II, who primarily operated in rural and mountainous areas of France. The term Maquis comes from the word for the thick scrubland found in Corsica, which became synonymous with the guerrilla-style warfare these resistance fighters employed. The Maquisards, as the members were called, played a crucial role in resisting the German occupation and collaborating Vichy government. The Maquis formed initially from individuals who were evading compulsory labor service, the service du travail obligatoire, STO, imposed by the Nazi regime. In 1942, after the Nazis began requiring able-bodied Frenchmen to work in Germany's war industries, many young men fled to avoid conscription. These escapees often sought refuge in remote regions like the mountains and forests, particularly in southern France, Corsica, and Brittany, forming the basis of the Maquis. These groups started as scattered cells, often unorganized, but grew into more structured resistance networks. By 1943, many of them became linked to larger resistance organizations, such as the Forces Françaises de l'Intérieur, FFI, and were supported by General Charles de Gaulle's Free French Forces. The Maquis operated in small, decentralized units, using guerrilla warfare tactics such as sabotage, ambushes, assassinations, and intelligence gathering. They targeted German supply lines, railroads, communication hubs, and military installations, making it difficult for the Nazis to maintain control, especially in rural areas. The Maquis were typically equipped with a mixture of weapons, some acquired from old stockpiles, others obtained from the enemy during raids, and many airdropped by the British Special Operations Executive, SOE, and the American Office of Strategic Services, OSS. However, they were often outgunned and lacked the heavy weaponry needed for large-scale confrontations with the German army. The Maquis depended heavily on the support of the local population, who provided food, shelter, and information. However, their presence often brought severe reprisals from the Germans and Vichy authorities. Villages suspected of helping the Maquis faced brutal retaliations, including the destruction of homes and mass executions, such as the infamous massacre in the village of Oradour-sur-Glane in 1944. Notable actions: sabotage. One of the most important activities of the Maquis was sabotaging German transport and communication networks in the run-up to D-Day. Their efforts helped disrupt German reinforcements and contributed to the success of the Allied invasion of Normandy. Battle of Vercors, 1944. One of the largest-scale operations of the Maquis was the defense of the Vercors Plateau in southeastern France. The Maquis created a liberated zone, but in July 1944, the Germans launched a brutal counteroffensive. The Maquisards were outmatched by the heavily armed German forces, and the plateau was retaken, with many resistance fighters killed. Liberation of cities. As Allied forces advanced after D-Day, Maquis units played a key role in the liberation of various French cities, including Paris, where they engaged in street fighting alongside the Free French and Allied forces. Their actions expedited the collapse of German control in the regions they operated. Challenges and internal struggles. While united in their fight against the occupiers, the Maquis were not a homogeneous group. They were composed of various political factions, including communists, socialists, Gaullists, and anarchists, which sometimes led to tensions. After the war, these differences resurfaced, as they disagreed on the direction France should take in the post-war era. The Maquis are remembered as heroes of the French resistance and as key players in the liberation of France from Nazi occupation. Their efforts, alongside those of other resistance groups, demonstrated the power of local, grassroots opposition to an occupying force. Many Maquisards became influential figures in post-war France, contributing to the rebuilding of the nation and the formation of modern French identity. Their legacy is also a testament to the risks ordinary citizens took in the face of oppressive regimes, and how decentralized, guerrilla movements can be effective even against more powerful adversaries. The Maquis remain symbolic of the French spirit of resistance and patriotism.